Hi, welcome to the brand new episode of Campus Eye. I am Veronica, your host for today. Today with us we have Prapti Menden, who is the first deep sea fisherwoman of Karnataka. Welcome to the show, Prapti. Hello.
Hi. Oh,
Prapti, I have been hearing a lot about you through the news channels and different newspapers, and even like many people have been talking about you.
yeah.
So it's like really exciting to know that you are being a woman that is like breaking all the gender norms that is there. Usually it's seen as a male dominant work or male activity where the men go for the fishing, but here we have a woman who is like, you are the first woman I
Yeah.
hear that. So how do you feel about it, and like when did you start all this going into the deep sea fishing?
Okay. So to begin with, my dad is a captain. He was in Nigeria for about 18 years. He did his captain training and coursework, and he moved to Nigeria. And later on, he became a captain. And after I was born, he came back to India and he started boat business. And after that, we were initially staying in Udupi. So that time, he used to do up and down from Udupi to Mangalore. And in Mangalore, we used to come every weekend just for visiting purposes. And every weekend, he used to take us on the boat, like just to see how it looks or something like that. Then initially, interest started developing. I used to just look at it as entertainment purpose. Like I used to enjoy going. And then slowly started taking me first fishing trip, and every weekend he used to take me on like fishing, one day fishing or half day fishing. Morning we'll go and we'll come back by afternoon. Then my dad, he loved it that I did not have any seasickness. I used to not vomit at all. In fact, I used to feel very hungry. I used to eat all junk food or anything like that. He was very fascinated by that. Then he started taking me like full long day trips, morning till evening or morning till night. I used to enjoy it a lot. Then in 2010, we moved to Mangalore because dad used to feel difficult to travel up and down daily. So we came back to Mangalore, and that time he started taking me in the monsoon fishing vessel. That is the Rani Balay in which I used to go. That operates only during monsoon. That is from during the fish ban period from June to August. So that I used to love because it's the small boat and it's very it's an open boat. So it's very interesting, and that was also very happy. Then after I did my PUC, I was interested in doing fisheries. Even dad wanted any one of my kids to do fisheries. So my brother was not, he was more inclined towards engineering, but I was interested. So he was like, why not put my daughter into fisheries? Let her do something in fisheries. She's also from the fisheries community. Let her do something. So I wrote my CET and got into College of Fisheries, Mangalore. And then I finished my 4 years bachelor degree, and now I'm a final year student in fisheries engineering and technology in the in the fisheries college.
That's
Right.
very interesting to hear. Like, you know, from your childhood, how you developed till now, and now like you are finally a student. You said so, but throughout all this journey, what was your mom saying? It's usually, you know, moms will get scared, or they are like, no, don't take my child towards
Yeah.
sea. Or was she supportive, or what was the say from her side?
My mom, actually, she's a non-vegetarian, but she's not. She doesn't eat chicken at all. She'll eat fish sometimes, but every time dad used to bring fish home, she's not like the smell of it every time. And whenever I used to go for fishing, she used to be like, first go and have bath. I don't like the smell. So starting, she used to not let me so much go. She used to be like, don't go. She used to tell dad, like she used to have an argument, telling that if anything happens to my kids, I don't know. I don't know. You are taking in your responsibility and all. Then after that, slowly I went, and first time I jumped into the sea, it was like around 180 meters, 40 meters depth, around 180
Oh,
feet.
okay.
So I had not shown her the video at all because I knew she would get angry. So after a week, I just showed her a video, or I think I posted on Facebook or something. Somebody showed it to her. She's like, "What is this property? I'm not letting you go." She had an argument with dad also. Dad is like, "Nothing will happen. See, she's back home safely after a week. You saw it. Nothing has happened to her." So after that also, she used to like tell, "Don't go, don't go." Then my brother also started coming with me.
Okay.
Then she was little fine, but every time she used to go, she used to be very scared. Like, when will they come back home? Will she come back? So she used to wait. Now that when I go, even my granny sits and waits when I come back. But after coming in the news and all, she was quite happy. She was very proud.
So you said you jumped into the sea, right?
Yeah.
So how was that experience jumping into the sea, that too that deep? I have never done that, but I have always watched it on videos or movies. So how do you feel?
Yeah, so how I learned swimming, I'll tell that, because when I was a kid, like around 3rd standard or 4th standard, dad used to take me and my brother to the beach in Udupi, because we were staying in Udupi back then. So we used to go to this beach called Padukere beach. So at the end of it, there's no waves. So he used to teach us swimming there, like just go into the water, just swim over there. Not teach, they used to just tell, try swimming or just go into the water. So I learned swimming slowly over there. And when I came back to, moved to Mangalore in 2010, I joined Cambridge School, Mangalore. So I had, we had swimming pool over there. So I used to swim over there and I little developed swimming also. I'm not a professional, but I know. If I'm in the water, I can swim. So, and I think when I was in 7th or something, I don't know, 7th or 8th, I don't know, I had gone fishing with my dad, and that time he asked me, "Do you want to jump?" Because when they do the shooting of the net and the fishing is done, on the other side, he asked me, do you want to jump?" I said, "I don't mind, but I'm scared," I said, because it was my first time. He said, "Okay, just stand and then jump whenever you want." I was just standing over there and waiting, and my dad pushes me. He's like, "Don't wait," he just pushed me. And then it was fine. I
Wow.
just went with the flow.
So like, how is it? How do you do that deep sea fishing? Do you actually go inside and take the fish, or is it like with the net?
No, it's with the net. You shoot the net, you wait for some time, and then you haul the net.
So you have done that.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you feel doing that?
Yeah, it's
usually
nice.
because it's what do we say?
Manpower.
Yeah, it's a man's thing, no?
Yeah.
Because you need a lot of pulling. So what do you do if you have to go there? You go to gym, or what is it that you
No,
keep
nothing
doing?
like that. It's not like I alone pull the net, right? There are around 30 people who pull the net.
30 people.
Yeah, so it's very interesting that when they pull the net, they sing different. They either play in the big vessels. They play music, random musics. They'll play on their speaker, and then so that they get that josh to pull the net. So then in smaller boat, they usually tell some slogans, I think in Kannada, I don't know what you call, but they just tell like to boost up their energy for that josh to come in. And it's nice, everybody pulling together, and they enjoy it, when they see that fish they have caught, and this is what they're getting as their income, that happiness is different.
So Prapti, you were talking about how pulling the net with all those other people around with you, and now I want to ask you, like, all are men among those, right? And you are the only woman. How do you feel about it?
Actually, everybody used to ask me this, that don't you feel uncomfortable? You're the only female, it's risky and all that. And dad used to never, since I was a kid, dad never told me like, you can't do this, you can't do that. He used to always tell me, you want to ride a bike, you ride a train, you want to run, you run a train, you want to go by flight, you go by flight. He used to never like tell me, don't do this, don't do that. Even clothes, he used to never tell me anything, don't wear this or don't wear that. He was very like supportive since I was a kid. So he used to take me, and the boat people also, when I was going with my dad's boat also, everybody was friendly. They used to treat me like their own daughter or their own people. They used to not tell that she's a girl. They also used to, some people, they'll feel very uncomfortable, oh, there's a girl. Because in the vessel, okay, the men will be there around, they need to do their own things. So they'll feel uncomfortable, right? They didn't have any uncomfortableness with me. They were very friendly to me. They were very nice. They used to treat me like their own daughter, actually.
So you had, all were like older than you. You had anyone of your age, like?
No, there were a few like almost like 1 year elder to me or something, but rest of them were all like elderly people only.
Now, how was their reaction when you started getting to the news and all, you know, and their boat? It's kind of like their boat is also getting to the media. So
Yes.
what
So
was
they
their
were
reaction?
very happy. They were like their one girl from their community is like has given name to their community. So they were very happy. They used to always encourage me from before only. Even one day if I don't go, when I was not going for fishing during monsoon season, they used to call dad. They used to ask dad, why your daughter didn't come? Why she didn't come? I'll borrow it. We did not get so much fish, I guess, today because she wasn't there. She's a lucky charm. They always tell that I'm their lucky charm.
Wow, that's so nice. Usually people always have no some lucky charm and they might be feeling like, okay, Prapti is our lucky charm and without her you won't get a lot of fish. So now how many years since you have been going for this deep sea fishing?
Almost around 10 years I've been going.
That's
But the Rani Bale, the small mini Persian, I've been going since like 5 years.
5 years. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. That's so amazing. So you are saying that since your school days you started with it. So how do you manage your school, your college, and the fisheries, like going for fishing thing, everything?
Yeah, so I never miss college and go, college or school and go. When I used to have like holidays, like Saturday, Sunday, or vacations, so that time dad used to take me. If I take leave and go, then it would affect my studies, and also I used to not go like that. And even during my UG and PG, UG also, I used to go whenever I had holidays or weekends. I used to go, and PG specifically in my final year, I had to go continuously because I took my research work related topic related to Rani Bale only, which is mini Persian. So I had to go continuously for my research work. So that time I need not take leave. It was a part of my coursework only.
Right. So Prapti, like because you have been talking about how your dad, your mom, your brother also supported you throughout this deep sea fishing, and you were talking about one kind of a boat, right?
Yeah.
So I would like to know more about it because for me, I'm nowhere near this ships or fishes or anything, but I would like to know, like, you know, there are different kinds of ships or boats that you have, which you go for the fishing. Right? So what is it all about?
Okay, so my dad has Persians, which is a bigger boat, and the one I used to go, which is seen in all the news channels, that was mini Persian. It's a smaller version of the bigger Persian. The operation is same, just it is in small scale. The bigger ones, Persians are large scale operation. This is a small scale operation, and it's an open boat, very small boat, and the number of crew members also is less in the mini Persian, which is locally called as Rani Bale. And there are other boats like trawling, and gill netting. All that is there. But once I've been in a trawler, but gill net also have been. There are other long line fishing also. Bull trawling is also there.
Okay.
That I'm interested in going soon. Bull trawling.
So, in other than this Rani Bale, other than this Rani Bale, how which all have you tried till now?
Yeah, I've tried the Persian. Okay. I've been initially I used to go in Persian only because my dad had his Persian, so he used to take me in that.
That's
only.
a bigger boat.
Yeah, that's a bigger boat.
Okay.
And then I've also been in a trawler and also gill netter and long line I've not been.
Okay. So what's the difference that you find other than the size? What is the difference that you find when you go in these boats?
The method of operations are different for everything. Okay. The nets are different. Method of operation is different. Hauling procedure is also different.
Okay.
But it's interesting.
That's nice. So you said you only go during the monsoon season. What about the other seasons?
No, the mini Persian, which is at Rani Bale, it operates only during monsoon.
Okay.
So that I've been going since the past 5 years. Every monsoon with dad, I just keep going because I enjoy going. So he'll ask me if you want to come. So I'll go whenever I'm free. But in Persians, before I used to go during the other seasons, which is the proper fishing seasons.
Yeah, right.
Sometimes, but later on, initially they used to go just for a day and come back, which is very convenient for me. But nowadays they stay for like multi-day.
Okay, okay.
Multi-day fishing they do, so it's like 3 to 5 days, which is difficult for me with the school or college or
Colleges,
something.
right.
So I used to not go for that. If they do go for a day and come back, I'll definitely I go and come with
Okay.
that whenever I'm free.
That's all for this week's Campus Eye. See you next time. Until then, stay tuned.